everyone. This is Chaz here with Board Game Geek, and I am joined by Keith from L4 Studios.
Yes.
In conjunction with Mr. B Games.
Which is who he's not present.
No, he was here a while ago, but not anymore.
Apparently could not be bothered to join. Oh, hey.
Oh, it's Mr. B Games. Thank you. It's nice to meet you. Okay. And we are going to be looking at Thera. So please tell me what this is going to be all about.
So Thera is actually the ancient name for modern-day Santorini. And while Vesuvius gets the most publicity for Pompeii, actually Thera was destroyed by a volcano that was like the largest the Earth had seen in like 10,000 years up to that point. And why you don't hear about it, I think, in many cases is because apparently the population knew of it weren't there. So there was no loss of life.
Oh, interesting.
But what happened is, so Thera is strategically located in the Mediterranean. The volcano took place, and the theme behind the game is you basically have identified that this is a strategic location to be rebuilt, and you're coming back in patrician, kind of during the Greek. We're pulling architecture from the Mycenaeans, the Greeks, and the Romans, so it's kind of a bit more of a broad timeline that we could play with some of the different architecture through the histories. And your goal is to rebuild the city. Okay. And that's how you, the different buildings generate victory points, and that's how you accomplish that's how you win.
Nice. So what are the mechanisms?
What's going on? Yeah,
yes, how does this work?
So each player has their own map of Thera. Okay. And you see the ash kind of politely distributed throughout this. This is all part of it. So a player on their turn basically has this rondel, and they're going to take a roll that allows us to do different things. So as you are going through the game, you may take a builder, trader, priest, worker, or planer. Okay. And those basically are going to be triggering actions that allow you to either move resources, activate buildings, etc. So the very beginning of the game is every player automatically has a port and a quarry, and they have a fountain that they get to place. So if I were doing it, I would probably do something like this. And I also have certain resources to start with that are going to be appearing on the board. So on a turn, for example, if we were to do a planner roll, the planner, what it does is it allows you to move resources around the board. Okay. And that's important because you have buildings that you assemble or construct, and you need particular resources to accomplish that. But the resources need to be in the actual tile. Okay. So that's the builder side of it. Worker is the role that actually allows you to generate what the building actually does. So for example, in the case of the fountain, that's something that actually generates water in one of the tiles around it. Okay. So you have that. Priest is one that, well, now I goofed that up because actually the priest is generated. So I totally, how is that? We're live, we can't go backwards. So the fountain actually is one that's generated by the priest. That generates water. Okay. If it were a building such as a quarry, and I chose the worker, that's something that would actually, if I had water on here, which is what this icon is telling you, then that would generate 2 stone for me. So if a worker were to go and I had water here, I would do something like that.
And you just exchange it, swap it out. Yes. Okay.
Exactly, and that's what that icon is for you. So over the course of the game, you have tiles that generate resources. So I can show you've got the quarry, which I just showed, the pasture, which is how you can generate wool. And grove, which is how you generate wood, and you can buy more fountains. So you've got resource constructing buildings, and then you've got the luxury tiles, which are the ones that generate
the victory points.
Tend to be more victory points. These still have some, which are some I realize you've got them in front of you. These icons here do that. Okay.
Once I place a tile like this, is it permanent, or can I actually upgrade a tile later to a different building?
It turns out it's permanent, at least certainly in this first version. All right. And placement of tiles are a big deal because as you look at the map, and actually it's probably more logical to maybe look at this one so I don't have to move stuff around. So what we see is that you have different icons on the map that are showing you that you actually get additional victory points. Like this is the temple complex. So we're looking, this is an example of different architectures. So as you're looking at things that are more along the mountains and such, that's where it'd be logical to do the temples. Here was where you get into the palace architecture. Here is the, this is the agora, which is like a marketplace type thing. And then this is the winery, which is actually stuff they had back then. So they needed to be drinking the good stuff back in the day. So that's what the activity on the board board is now one of the things that, so when I played this, I got to play this when I went out to visit Sean at his convention. There are elements to it that remind me of Puerto Rico, Through the Ages, Seven Wonders. These are all games that I really, really like and think very highly of. One of the things that I think I like about this rondelle a lot is that if I take the roll, so on my turn, what it is I get to pick a roll, and you see these different favor tokens on here. So if I were to pick the builder, for example, these two pieces come off, and then I start to populate them clockwise. So, and why does this matter? Is because as I play it, all players get the above the line action. So with the builder, you can move stone and remove ash. That's one of the things that the builder does. You can also build an actual building. For me, though, if there are 4, like if I had made this choice, and I'll just bring these back, if there had been 4 icons here, then I would actually be able to remove another stone. So as there are more favor tokens on that particular roll, it generates additional benefit.
So that's nice. And also just about that means that every turn, all players are going to get something to do.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I very much liked about this is that you were engaged the whole game. Right? I feel like that's something that has to be a staple. And what's happening, for example, if we choose the builder, what you see here, because I realize as I flip it over, what you're looking at here are basically the blueprints. And they're showing you that if you want to build this, for example, if you want to build the fountain, this is the cost over here. So I would need a water, a stone, and 4 gold. And then when I place it, it flips over and you see one of them here, so you see the color version of it and then the icon of what it does and how it performs. So this is telling you that you can apply water in one of the orthogonal tile places, even if another building isn't there. So you can kind of have stuff, because resources need to be there before you assemble the building. So you can kind of be planning ahead as to what you want to do in that regard.
Nice. Speaking of planning ahead, is this coming to Kickstarter?
Yes.
Okay. So what's kind of the schedule for Kickstarter and then retail release?
So as you might, maybe it's been kind of put together. So the artwork on the board and these tiles is about 90% done. This rondelle actually is a prototype version. So what's going to happen here is you'll have some artwork on the outside showing the different roles, and this will shrink a little bit. So realizing that this one looks a little bit shocking relative to some of the other. My instinct is that it will happen probably in May, June, but we're kind of in a position where philosophically we're like, it'll go when it's ready. The design is ready, the artwork's coming along nicely, so we see things progressing very well. So yeah, we're predicting like May, June.
Excellent. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that. Thank you, Keith, for sharing this with us. And we'll keep an eye out for that Kickstarter coming from L4 Studios and Mr. B Games.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. In the meantime, keep an eye out for more coverage from GAMA, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much.